now we're speaking with an aspiring senator. Mr. Peter Ameh joins us as the former Director General of the OK movement, and also the candidate is no longer an aspirant, apparently, but he continues to aspire for the NDC Kogi senatorial seat. So good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily. I'm sure that you must have been following conversations. Last week we saw the signing of the peace accord to keep the campaigns, because we're now officially in the campaign season, to keep the campaigns issues based. And so far so good. We've seen that conversations have centered around subsidy. The president responding to the candidates of the ADC. And yesterday, your candidate, the candidate of the NDC, was also out at the NBA talking also about the subsidy issue, as well as a host of other matters as well. We saw quite a number of candidates there as well. For your people in Kogi East, Kogi East Senatorial District, what exactly would you be telling them that you want to do to make a difference, given some of the things that Senator Ojodu has just said about people now misunderstanding what exactly a senator's role should be?
Yes, I agree with Senator Ojodu on a lot of reasons, and I hope as we age too like him, we will keep our conscience intact and then learn from what he has done, because I used to read him in Yaba when I was living there as a young boy. For me, the provision of the Constitution was very clear, that you have proper oversight function as a lawmaker, and then you also make laws for the good governance and development of the country, But today we have lawmakers that have turned to contractors. For most cases, what we hear is very disheartening, that they have to get 20% upfront from those contractors that they will allocate the jobs to. And this is not good for our country, because they have also abandoned their primary responsibility to make laws for the good governance and development for the country. Because when last did they make any, very, tailored law, to be able to provide, protect lives and property across Nigeria? Because if where I come from, we are blessed with land, arable land, that is fertile, that will be able to, generate food for this country. And for now, we're not doing that because there's a lot of security challenges that are setting my people behind, behind this thing. And there's a lot of lack of infrastructure, lack of federal government presence in Kogi East. There've not been any kind of direct, deliberate interventions that would have helped to, uplift the lives of our people around those communities. The 9 local government from Bassa to Igalamela, to Dolu, to Ankpa, to everywhere you go to, you find out that this absence is really something that behoves on somebody who is representing the interest of the people to speak loudly and to put it as a major discussion at the National Assembly floor, so that the attention of the people being forgotten and ignored no longer stands the fate of time. So people will know that these are the plight of our people. These are the challenges confronting our people. These are where bridges are needed. Like, you can't even connect Ibaji to the rest of the people. Ibaji is almost like a forgotten place. Why? And these people are one of the most resourceful people that you can find in Nigeria when it comes to agricultural and fishing, what they call it, investment. So we have challenge, and this challenge comes from the fact that those in power have decided to concentrate in building their personal interests instead of working for the collective good of the people they represent. And that is not what we have been in advocacy. We have been in talking for the development of this country without holding power. So what we want to do is to see that you cannot also stand on the sideline and continue to speak. We want a situation where we can also be there to bring some of this knowledge, some of these burning issues that are, becomes pain on our chest, to bring it to the forefront so that our people can see that a better representation with somebody who can speak truth, with somebody who can come up to represent our people, college in a way that will bring that searchlight to the entire Kogi East with 97 wards, to be able to solve the prevailing pain and backwardness that is being expressed by the people.
Well, campaigns are as I say, you campaign in prose and you govern it. You have to govern. Oh no, campaign in poetry. You have to govern in prose.
Sorry.
But I'm just a little curious. You recently resigned your position as the Director General of the Obi Kwankwanso movement. Is there a reason for that?
No, the reason is very clear. It was stated in my resignation, in my stepping aside later, which is just stepping aside. Yeah, it's just stepping down, because the issue is that I want to run for election. And my interest totally is to run for election, is to run for this Kogi Senatorial District Senate seat. I think it would be unfair for me to hold on to one with one hand, thinking that I'm not sure I'm not going to win. That's what most electorate will think, that I'm running two positions, and I will not have the time to be able to canvass, to be able to communicate, to be able to inform the people of the agenda that I'm bringing about. So I really want to concentrate my time. This was a free decision that I have taken, in order to give the OK movement the opportunity to have somebody who will have that time to pursue and promote the ideas the OK movement stands for. And I also have that time and freedom to also tell my people what I intend to do, to better their lives, if I get elected.
Well, quite a number of things. I'm sure that you have been also listening to this subsidy conversation. But how would you weigh in on it? Because there's people who say that we seem to be phrasing the conversation wrongly in terms of whether this is a conversation of bringing back subsidy or, not bringing it back. But essentially ought to be a plan for what exactly is the economic pathway for Nigeria forward. How exactly are you seeing this conversation?
The conversation is for a lot of people, Nigerians have suffered, from the removal, the hasty, the unplanned removal of a subsidy, because government is supposed to do things and have proper plan on how to cushion the negative effect that you have on the people. Because the day the president announced subsidy was gone, transportation actually skyrocketed to over 400%, and that also affected the the pocket expenses of the ordinary man who earned 70,000 naira. So the money they were earning was not enough to take them home anymore. They had to look for every other shortcut to be able to survive. So the subsidy removal himself was necessary because the corruption became too much. But what the president should have done is what some other presidential candidate like P2B is talking about. Why didn't you look at the corruption in the regime? If you are not looking at that and you're going to remove it to be able to cut off all the cancerous cells and all the issues that come along with it, what happens to the money that is accruing to the federation account from that money? What happens to it? You are no longer paying subsidy. You are no longer having any extra, allocation that will be able to go for subsidy, payment to whether through fraudulent processes or through clear processes. But the issue now remains. In 2012 to 2014, Jonathan spent about 280 billion in Shopee. And we saw the effect. We saw buses. We saw school, universities, centers being renovated. We saw hospital getting, equipment and all that necessary medical supplies. But we've not seen anything coming out of this, despite the subsidy removal, despite the reduction in the theft of crude oil, despite the level of money that have come from the windfall to the Iraq and the American crisis, Iran and the American crisis. So where is the money?
Have you taken a look at the recent scorecard released by the Ministry of Finance?
What was it? What was the scorecard about? The president, I would listen to the president about 3 weeks ago when he said that the transporters should allow public people to benefit from the benefit of the CNG. Maybe the president thinks the CNG is working. Maybe he thinks people have CNG. It's been installed on their vehicles. It's not working. There's nothing like that. And there's no public transport that the government has said, let's invest and bring like 500 buses to each of these states. Government has the resources at its disposal to be able to reduce the level of pain the people are bearing on the other side of subsidy removal. But the issue is that we have seen misalignment of allocation of resources. We have seen misappropriation. We have seen mismanagement of that.
So you haven't taken a look at that scorecard at all?
I haven't. What is the scorecard?
Perhaps you should take a look at it, and then I would think that parties that are really serious about
No, what is the scorecard? I don't know whether it's the one. What is the scorecard? What is the scorecard?
You did not witness the release of the scorecard recently done by the Ministry of Finance, which was essentially trying to account for what exactly the state of finances have been for the country since subsidy was taken away. I think even your candidates mentioned the fact that 15 trillion naira was, saved, so to speak, even though they say that 10 trillion went to states. So, but I'm giving you too many details. Let Ayo give you one question before we round up this particular session.
Well, thank you, Markwe. Just that one question, the issue raised by Mr. Ameh the other time about the president not prepared, the federal government not preparing duly or adequately for the subsidy regime. Subsidy regime isn't something new to us. As far back as 2012, you would recall that there was a movement by the people against it at the time. And even the previous government, the Buhari government before this one, already declared in December into January that there is no budget beyond June 2023 for the subsidy. So when you say Nigeria did not prepare for the subsidy regime. I want to understand exactly what you mean. Is it that no one of us knows what is happening? The corruption regime in that area is something that is unknown to us. I want to understand that a little better.
First of all, I have to clear you because you could see what Fashola said, what the former Ekiti State Governor said, that they were the one that fought against the removal of fuel subsidy in 2012 because they knew it was the right thing to be done, but despite that, they fought against it. And yes, we looked at, you said that Nigeria as a people already know the pain of what the fuel subsidy was causing on the economy. But the issue is that the government itself, you talk about Buhari, even during the Buhari regime, there was the under recovery being paid for subsidy. Even under the president, there were money paid for subsidy removal and tagged a different name. So we cannot be, trying to deceive the public. What I'm saying about subsidy removal is that if you have enough saving, why the level of borrowing has increased, you could say you have saved money. What the money you have borrowed, what have you used it to do? The money we have earned that are accrued to the federal government the federal government share of whatever FAC allocation is about 53%. What has the federal government done with its own share of that allocation? What we have not seen infrastructure. People are stranded on the express road as of yet. In the last 5 days, we have not seen road. We just talked about substandard infrastructure being put on our federal highways. We have not seen any kind of deliberate attempt to say these resources is being invested in universities that are university dormitories, are university centers, are now having advanced technology. That we have new federal medical centers springing up with the resources that have come in from the subsidy removal, the gains. But these are why we are saying the federal government led by President Tinubu did not properly plan. Because if you have planned, you will look at what was done with Abacha, you will look at what was done with Jonathan, and have a way to pushing the effect on the ordinary Nigerian populace. Because it is not about you telling us 36 governors are getting more money. Is that money they are getting, is it trickling down to help reduce the burden, economic burden, the hardship that the ordinary Nigerians are facing? These are the current challenges. You can't just satisfy 36 people and say you are satisfied the entire Nigeria. Nigerians are suffering. Nigerians are not seeing the positive side of the subsidy removal because there's a total mismanagement of the resources, there's a total misallocation of the resources, and total misalignment of that resources. That resources should be tailored in helping the people have a better standard of living. The level of poverty today, the level of out-of-school children today is high. What have we used that to do with our educational sector? What have we used that, the kind of military, the hospitals we have today, and now we're built under the military. What are we investing? Can Nigerians, those who work in Nigerian government, who are appointed by Nigerians as ministers, as governors, can then go to any public hospital in Nigeria and then get medical treatment? Can their children attend public schools? These are the reasons, these are the questions we are asking on behalf of Nigerians to see that money generated, money realized from the removal is used to better the loss of our people.
Just to say that Mr. Peter Ameh has now moved from the realm of advocacy. He is now running for office as the candidate of the NDC, that's the National Democratic Party, Kogi East Senatorial District. Thank you so much for speaking with us on Sunrise Daily this morning. We hope that you keep your fire as this campaign season continues. Thank you once more.
Thank you for that.